Well, Basil became a bit incontinent the other day, and I thought it was brakes, obviously, but it ain't. It's the shock absorbers leaking. Now, in the manual, the Aston Martin manual, it says 5 bolts to undo the shock absorber. There's 4 up the top there and 1 down the bottom, and you undo those and you cannot even begin to get it out. And worse than that, I left it overnight, and you can see that overnight it has expanded because it's now that much higher than it was before. So now I can't get the bolts back in, so now I can't go forward and I can't go backwards. So there you go. So this is the new shock absorber, and obviously it will go in somewhere like that there. However, I'm not in any way going to be doing that spring thing, because I'm going to take it to somewhere and have them do it with all their special clamps and jigs and things, because I'm quite attached to my fingers and don't really fancy losing them. So I'm not going to be doing that. If I can just get the thing out. Basically, if you're going to do this, I suggest that you don't. And you certainly don't do it 2 feet away from a brick wall. And you most definitely don't do it next to an open drain. And don't ask me how I know that one. Pooh. This might be of interest. I obviously haven't got much room here, so I've made this to prop the car up on. So obviously at the moment I've got no brakes, so I ain't going anywhere. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to try and do is go down the rabbit hole, and I'm gonna, because I can't see anything that's going on behind there. I can't see where the bottom of the strut goes in. I just can't see it, can't get at it. I'm going to take the brake caliper off and then take the disc off and see where I get to from there. So that's the next thing to do. Okay, well, I've been looking at the previous part of this video because, believe it or not, everything you've seen up to now was about 2 weeks ago. And this is why. There we are, there's the shock absorber off at last. 2 weeks that took to get off, but that's not 2 weeks, that's just a few hours a week for 2 weeks. But there we are with it off. Let's see if we can get some better lighting. That's better. Right, so that's where it lived. Now, things I had to do to get it off. I'd got it removed from the top, and I'd got the bolt out from the bottom, and that was my first mistake, because taking the bolt out from the bottom without, you see what I've got now? I've got a block that would have supported the underside of the shock absorber, but I didn't realise that at the time, and I let it drop. It fell out the bottom of the wishbone sort of thing, which you can't see there. Well, you can just. It fell out the bottom, and then I couldn't get it back up. So that really messed me up for a week. Anyway, the lengths I've had to go to, I had to take this top bolt off. You have to take that sway bar thing off anyway, but that does allow you to move the whole of this hub assembly this way a bit, which gives you a bit more clearance down the bottom to wiggle it out. that clamp there is holding it as far in this direction as possible. And then I've had to rig up a bottle jack up to the top to get the suspension down as low as possible. And that gives me as much room up here as possible, which is what you want. The other thing that you wouldn't realise is that that leg weighs an absolute ton. Now, if you're standing up and got this at ordinary working height, you can lift it up and down, no trouble at all. But when you're down on your hands and knees with one arm, trying to wrestle it out of there, it suddenly weighs 10 times as much as you think it does. And that was part of the problem. So anyway, given that it had dropped down, I managed to get a block under there and actually jack it back up and get it onto the top side of the wishbone, I suppose you'd call it, on top of the wishbone, with just enough room clearance at the top to be able to swing the legs sideways and jiggle it out that way. So there we are. That's as far as I've got at the moment. Obviously, the new leg, the new shock absorber rather, hopefully sometime this week I'll be taking it down to the shop and they can change it over for me, because I'm certainly not going to attempt that myself. And then it's just a question of getting it all back together, which I reckon I could probably, having spent nearly a fortnight getting it out, I think I could probably get it back together in an afternoon. And then of course there's the other side to do, which now that I know what I'm doing, touch wood, should be a bit easier. Oh, the other thing I want to do is that's the parking brake held up over there. I want to, while the strut's away, I want to give that a bit of attention and see what my pads are like. And I suppose really I ought now, while I've got it out, I ought to do the pads on the Brembos. Why not? I suppose, because they're getting down. Oh, there's the disc, and that was a nightmare in itself, because that certainly obviously didn't want to come off. I bought I'll probably never use it. Well, I will. I'll use it on the other side, but other than that, I'll probably never use it again. I bought a puller. I've got quite. I didn't bother to film any of this, but I took quite a few photos. So probably after this segment, I'll drop the photos in of the puller on there and various other photos that I took. So that's where we are now.